सर्वरूपधरं शान्तं सर्वनामधरं शिवं सच्चिदानन्द अद्वैतं सच्चिदानन्द अद्वैतं सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरम्. Offering our most reverential and loving pranams in the divine lotus feet, Sarva Rupa Dharam, the one who is the very substratum of this entire creation, who has assumed all the forms, including all seated here. He has assumed all the forms. Sarva Rupa Dharam, Shantam, but he is very unassuming, very free, normal and spontaneous. Sarva Nama Dharam, Shivam. He has assumed all the names, all our names are his names. And hence all of us are auspicious. Sarvanama Dharam Shivam Satchidanandam Advaitam. But his real name, Bhagavan declared in a discourse, is Satchidananda, that is his being, knowledge, bliss. Advaitam, there is no second to him. He is one and one alone. In fact, I remember a session in Kodaikanal way back in 2007. Swami was inquiring with some of the elders seated there. He was narrating a particular episode when Bhagavan visited the Himalayas. You can imagine all the rishis, the sages and the saints of Himalayas would have been eager to see the Lord himself walk to the bedrock of spirituality, which is Himalayas. When Swami went there, he visited a particular sage by name Purushottamānanda, who lived in a cave, a gufa, called Vashishta Gufa, which was around 23 odd kilometers away from this sacred land called Rishikesh. And while describing his journey there, suddenly Swami turned to this elder who was seated there amongst us and said, "Have you met Swami Purushottamānanda?" And the elder said in Tamil, "Illa Swami, no Swami." And then Swami went on to say, "Do you know Swami Shivananda, the great spiritual master?" And the elderly gentleman again replied and said, "Illa Swami, enak theriyadu. I don't know Swami." Swami ottardan theriyum. He said, "I only know Swami." And very naturally, spontaneously, Swami just looked up like that and said, "Idu onnu therinja podum. You should know this one, it's enough. Ekoham bahusyam." Immediately he said in Sanskrit, this one has become many. This entire creation that you see, we are in a small town in India, which itself is a small presence in the world map, right? And imagine Earth is just a spot in the solar system. You go on and on and on, almost insignificant, right? And in all that vastness of creation that we see, and today the scientists have come to terms with what Bhagavatam, the sacred scriptures, used to say. 5,000 years back, Bhagavatam says, while describing the story of Krishna, that Krishna summoned Brahma, that is the creator of multiverses, means multiple Brahmas were summoned in one shot, which means the idea of a multiverse is clearly depicted in Bhagavatam, which is a 5,000-year-old scripture, right? So today we know that the scientists have very clearly articulated the possibility, I can say in the last century possibly, they have been evolving this thought of the possibility of multiverses Of course, there is no boundary per se, it's just based on the clusters and how they move about that they call it a multiverse, otherwise it's in a single space. But what Swami declared on that moment was Ekoham Bahusyam. Before all this came into existence, what was there? In fact, there is a Rig Vedic mantra which is called Nasadiya Suttam. Okay, don't get bogged down by the name, but there are some interesting thoughts that are expressed in these Vedic mantras. In Nasadiya Suttam, a fundamental question is asked. Pehle, how many of you understand Hindi? Oh, okay, so I can. Pehle Sat nahi tha, Asat bhi nahi. First, truth was also not there, neither was untruth. Antariksha bhi nahi, Akash bhi nahi. The cosmos was not there, the space that contained the cosmos was also not there. Tab kaun tha? Then who was there at that time? Who initiated the entire creation? Which then became, as the Vedas say, Akashat, Vayu, Vayu, Agni, the space and all the elements emerged from it, and the Big Bang and the rest of the story, right? So Swami was there saying, Ekoham Bahusyam, means I have manifested into many. Please note here, Swami is not saying I created many. He is saying I divided myself from myself to love myself. That is, I have become many myself. And that is why when Kasturiji asked Swami for his introduction, Kasturi, who was Swami's translator and the author of Satyam Shivam Sundaram, which is the biography of Bhagwan, Kasturiji, when he asked Swami, how do I describe you? Swami burst out with this poem. He said, Sarva Rupa Dharam Shantam. I have assumed all the forms, yet I am the silent, unmoving, unchanging substratum. Sarva Nama Dharam Shivam. All these names are mine, and hence I lend auspiciousness to every single being in this world. Sachidanandam Advaitam. So I am only one, I am not many, he says. While you see many, it's just me, and me. That's what Swami was trying to say, right? And we know this famous movie song, Jab kahi bhi kuch nahi bhi nahi tha. Any singers here who know the song Kun Fire Kun? Yeah? Do you want to hum? Huh? Yeah? You can hum, feel free to hum. Yeah? Right? Thanks for humming so I could cover up my voice. So, what any religion, any master, this is from Hazrat Nizamuddin. In Delhi you land, there's a station called Hazrat Nizamuddin. For a long time I didn't know that it was actually a Sufi master's, dargah, which is nearby, and hence the station was named like that. But it is that great Sufi master who wrote these words. He said, Jab kahin pe kuch nahi bhi nahi tha. When nothing was also not there, he says, Vahita, 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 only he was there. And Swami is telling that I am Ekoham Bahusyam. I, who was there before nothing, willed that let there be something. And he became this vast expanse of cosmos. Right? To that Swami we pay our obeisance. And that Swami is sitting here in the form of each and every one of you here. So with all my heart and loving reverence, my loving Sairam to each and every one of you. But as Bhagavan says, I have divided myself from myself to love myself, right? So we need to still figure out how is love essentially means this unity, that is to experience oneness with God, who is only one and no second to him, right? That is real love. So how do we experience this love? That is the quest or the story of every spiritual seeker, right? Every lover of God, right? A divine romantic wants to know how to love God like that I be inseparable with my beloved, that is God. So it's very simple. Bhagavan says it's right there in his name, SAI, right? So through this session, we will try to discover, I'm saying discover because it's already there, we just need to take the lid off, literally disc the cover, and you will find what's already inside, right? So Sai, SAI, we see so many times, so we have to remove the lid from this, so we know what really Sai means. It's so simple to be in love, to be love. I'm sorry, Swami. He would give me a bashing to say be in love, because he says no, you can't be in love because you are love. Right? So what is SAI? Swami in his divine discourse says SAI is very simple. I is individual change. That is the first step for any spiritual seeker. Then you have A, which is association change. And finally, S, that is spiritual change. So the moment we discover that Sai means individual change, leading to association change, leading to spiritual change, the discovery of Sai is made to realize what? That we are love. We are love. So Swami says that the basis for all the threefold transformation is the love principle. This love has to be experienced by one and all, right? It has to be in your direct experience. Please note this. No amount of books or reading or any such thing. These are important steps in our spiritual sadhana, but they are not, they are only progressive, they only help you, but you have to experience the love. So our goal in life should be to experience Swami, to experience that love. But one of our professors here, who is now the controller of examinations in the university, Sri Sanjay Sahani sir, would often tell us in our awareness classes in the university, he would say, see, dear children, dear students, pray to Swami to give you that experience at least once. Because Swami would never force anybody, right? So you should want it. But you should pray to Swami to give you the taste of that experience of what divine love really is, at least once. So having known that taste, then you make a choice. You know what it feels like, right? So at least once. So be in constant prayer. Swami, give me that experience of love. So Swami says this love has to be experienced by one and all. Right? But what is this love? Have you all heard of this celestial sage who is very naughty? Yeah, who am I talking about? Narada, right? So, have you heard of Narada? All of you? Great, fantastic. So, Narada is one of the most wittiest, he is known to be witty, funny, he pokes people, rubs them on the wrong side, all doing God's work. But he is a very epitome of what is called as bhakti. Bhakti means devotion to God, isn't it? He is a very epitome of bhakti, and he had written a very sacred text called Narada Bhakti Sutra, which means aphorisms that indicate to us or teach us what really prema or love means. So what is the correlation between bhakti and prema, devotion and love? Very simple. One day in bhajan hall, we were all seated here. Just before bhajan, Swami came some 10 minutes before bhajan and sat on the beautiful throne. And Bhagavan asked this question. He said, what is bhakti? What is devotion? And one of the students immediately replied and said, Swami, bhakti means love for God. Swami said, yes, that is the right answer. So bhakti and prema are not two different things. The very ultimate expression of bhakti is absolute prema, which is oneness with God. The devotee does not exist. Only Lord exists. When that kind of a experience happens in our life, that is when bhakti reaches its fruition or its final stage, right? So Narada had written this Bhakti Sutra in which he says, Anirvachaniya Prema Swarupam, which means this prema or love cannot be expressed in words. He then goes on to say, Prema Amrita Swarupacha, which means love is immortal. Right? People use this in all kinds of greeting cards. But what Narada meant was very different. He said, Prema Amrita Swarupacha, which means love is immortal. What is the meaning of immortal? Immortal means that which does not have death. What has death? Anything that is born dies, right? Very simple. Look around us, and anything that is born has a lifetime and it has to decay. Be it trees, plants, furniture, human beings, whatever it may be, right? In this creation, everything has a birth. Even the sun and the stars, they have a birth, they have a period of lifetime or sustenance, and they have to vanish, right? They decay or become one with elements. So, whatever goes through this cycle is called mortal, and anything that does not have a death is called immortal. So what dies? That which has birth dies. So what Narada was saying is this love has no birth. Prema, Amrita Swarupa. It was never born. It is beyond birth itself. So something that is going above your head, right? Because that is the intention. I hope it is going above your head. Right? Great. So, something that goes above your head, which you cannot comprehend, you can't imagine what it is, how will we enjoy the taste of it? Right? That is why Narada says that love incarnates from time to time, assuming a human form so that we experience that love. And that incarnation of love is our Swami. So I don't like to say that Swami is an embodiment of love. In fact, in one of the discourse, Swami says, don't call me an embodiment of love because I'm not an embodiment of love. I am love. Prema Shri Satya Sai Avatar. That is, love itself assumed the form of Bhagwan. And there are many facets to love. He uses these facets so that through those small aspects of interaction that he has with his devotees, he wants us to experience the sublimity of that love which cannot be explained through words. Right? So, among the many, in Sanskrit it's called vibhutis. Vibhutis means dimensions or aspects or expression of divine love. I'm going to pick a few funny ones, right? So, the one I like the most is prema as common sense. Love expressed. Swami is a living embodiment of common sense, which most people commonly lack. You know, it's funny they call it common sense because it's supposed to be with everybody. It's so common, but it's very uncommon, right? We don't use it as much. So, Swami unfortunately has to come and teach us common sense, and he did it a lot in this incarnation. So I'm going to pick one story of Swami where he showed how to practice common sense, right? So it so happened that in Kulwant Hall this evening, you have seen, every evening you see, there are so many chandeliers, right? Jhumar chandeliers. Do you know that Swami handpicks every single chandelier? He picks how it should be, what color bulb should sit there. Everything was handpicked and chosen by Swami himself. He would not allow anything to be, hoisted there, assembled there, if he didn't like it. So what that meant was, all these chandeliers would land in his house, that is in his residence, and they have to assemble and show it to him. And only if he is satisfied with its architecture, with its color, its various facets, then Swami will say, this better, means you put this there, they will go and assemble it, right? So one such time, of course the chandelier will not come ready-made, right? It's difficult to transport it that way. It comes in parts. So you have the central load-bearing rod. and you have the various layers, and they're all coming in different boxes and they have to be assembled. So the brothers who would take care of Swami made an arrangement. So they had a kind of a stand erected which they have to assemble. It takes a little time, but they would do that and hoist the load-bearing rod on the stand and start assembling the chandelier, like piece by piece, right? So, and then they will turn it on and show, then Swami will give his comment. Many times we have heard that Swami would say, see, the yellow bulb is not bright. I want bright light, so change it to white. So something like that. Some comment Swami would definitely give and they will have to modify it. So this time, these boxes of chandeliers reached very late into Swami's residence. Late means not by our standards. After 7 p.m., right, which is early for us. So, Swami goes to bed retires to his room, I should say, by 7:30 p.m. So, 7 was a little late, so it came by around 7:05, 7:10. So, Swami saw the boxes and said, he's like a child with a sparkle in his eye, and Swami was like, come on, assemble this immediately, I want to see how it looks. Right? So the boys were like, Swami, it's already late, you will get delayed, you have to go, retire to your room by 7:30, there's just 20-25 minutes. Swami was like, nothing doing, I want it now. Right? So these brothers thought that it is not right to delay Swami, so they did not assemble the structure on which the load-bearing rod is hoisted. So one of them just took a call immediately and decided to hold the rod in his hand. Okay? And asked the others, come on, assemble quickly. Okay? So they all said, what are you doing? We have to make the structure. He said, see, there is no time. So we can't delay Swami. With good intention. He said, we can't delay Swami. So just get it done. I'll hold it. Okay, so they started assembling. And Swami was walking by and he saw what they were doing. He said, hey, what are you guys doing? He said, Swami, assemble chestunam. We are assembling it. Itle chestara. Will you do like this? Structure we put the structure and all, do it properly like you do every time. They were like, Swami, please Swami, through time lays Swami, we don't have time now, please don't force us to put the structure. Let's just do it. We'll hold it and do. Swami said, Nen chestunanu, itla kaadu, manchidi kaadu, sariga cheyandi. Not like this, it's not the right way to do it properly. They were no, please Swami, let's do this. Parli, so you just go and have your dinner and come and be ready by the time. So Swami said, Salli me ishtam, your wish. And Swami, went away. He had some meetings with some other people, and these boys were assembling the whole thing. It was all ready. They put the pins into the socket, and this boy was ready and holding it. So Swami came and said, Anta ready, everything is ready? He said, yes Swami. So I said, on cheyandi, turn it on. And they went and flipped the switch on, and everybody was stunned, not at the glory of the chandelier, but looking at the boy who was holding, he was doing break dance. So everybody was shocked and stunned, and their eyes were transfixed on the boy who was holding the chandelier because he was shaking, he was not doing a break dance. And then Swami rushed to the switchboard and turned off the switch and pulled the plug out first. And then he started laughing. He laughed. The brother who actually held the chandelier told me the story, and he said, Swami fell down on his chair laughing. ROFL literally. So that Swami couldn't continue holding his stomach and laughing. And he said, I told you, this is not the right way to do it. There was some wire was not proper. It came in contact with the rod, and obviously he was experiencing a shock. But when this brother shared this experience with us, he told us that the most beautiful lesson he learned that day, one of course was implicit obedience to Swami. Whatever Swami says, you do it, right? He's telling you for your good. But the thing that really stayed on with him was Swami's common sense. He said, you will see that everything that he does, like for example, when Gram Seva Swami announced, people were planning to, you must have heard this during especially the Go Green conference when you were here, that when Swami was, they went to Swami and said, Swami, we are going to serve lakhs of people in 300 villages around Puttaparthi and that and this. Swami said, oh, that is fine. How are you going to serve the food? So they said, Swami, we are planning to put it in polythene covers and seal it. Swami said, lakhs of people you want to serve in polythene covers. What will happen to the polythene covers after they use? Where will they go? So suddenly they were stunned because they were not prepared for that. The Go Green was not. So then Swami said, no, should give it in natural leaves. So buy the leaves, because when you buy the leaves, not only is it biodegradable, you also give business to the villages. Because these leaves are not made in cities per se. The rural folk, they gather the leaves, they stitch it together and make. So buy those leaves. And in the leaf, you pack the Anna Prasadam, and that should be put in paper and use only threads or something like that, which is again biodegradable. Or if you're using rubber bands are also okay, because వాళ్ళు ఇంట్లో యూజ్ చేసుకుంటారు. Means the villagers can make use of the rubber bands at home. Can you imagine that? So see, that is how common sense is a necessary attribute, expression that a Sai devotee must have. Okay, why? Because Swami said, my life is my message. Love itself incarnates, don't undermine. Some places where I have talked about prema as common sense, people come back and say, what? You mean to say this is an aspect of the avatar? I said, yes, for the current times, yes, because we lack it. The avatar has come to fill the void that we have, the gaps that we have, the void that we have, to help us understand who we really are. The basic void is common sense, which is most useful in day-to-day life. So we must be aware. Situational awareness is a very, very important aspect which Swami always showed. Always showed. There is one funny incident that I would like to share. Of course, this is not exactly showing this aspect, but it's really funny. So what had happened was, one of our sports meet, we just concluded our sports and cultural meet, which is on 11th of Jan. So, talking about common sense. So one of the students was so intensely bent upon pleasing Swami, So he was like, they used to call him, there were a set of 3-4 boys, they would call them Suicide Squad. The reason they would call them Suicide Squad was, they would do anything to make Swami happy. They jump from Hanuman Hill, on a rope, all kinds of stunts without, much precautions. Later we learned in the hard way. Swami would admonish us and, then all the safety measures and everything came into being. But those days, in the initial years of sports meet, boys just wanted to make Swami happy at any cost. So there was this 3-4 guys who were the Suicide Squad guys. So one of them had planned this particular act. And what was the act? He would go inside a drum which is filled with actually water, right? And he would use a straw to breathe, and they have kerosene on top, petrol on top, right? So petrol evaporates quickly, so they would just put some kerosene and petrol on top and light fire. So it will look like the whole drum is on fire and it's burning, and this boy is inside that. Can you imagine the stunt? Okay, so the idea was it's petrol, so it will go like this guy will breathe through a straw, and then somebody would tap on the drum. That was his signal to come out, right, of the drum. And then it would be like, wow, he withstood the fire, and it's a big stunt, and everybody would be awestruck and all that, right? This stunt was only made known to Swami. Why? Because Swami should not panic. So Swami is very, very sensitive about his children, right? So Swami should not panic. So this stunt was made known only to Swami and nobody else. No staff, nobody knew about this stunt. So Swami had approved it, and he was sitting there waiting for the moment. And you know how Swami built the situation? He would tell the people next to him, Chudu, yedo see, something is going to happen. Something very nice is coming up. He gives all that marketing and everything for that event which is going to happen, which only he knows, right? So he did that, and the moment came, this boy went inside the drum, he filled it with water, he had all the precautions and everything, and everything was going as per plan. Okay, then they poured that petrol, kerosene, whatever, and somebody came and lit the drum, and it went into flames like that. Nothing is touching the boy, he is safe, he is secure, right? One of our professors, teachers were there, who did not know what was happening. He thought that by mistake there was fire in the drum and the boy is going to die, right? He rushed to the drum and started whacking the drum. So this boy came out when it was still lit. Okay, so his hair got fire, and of course they immediately, nothing happened to him seriously. But Swami was so upset with the whole thing that, oh God, this guy ruined, So, common sense is something we lack, that's all I wanted to show. They should have planned better the whole event. But yes, Swami, one of his most beautiful devotees or aspects of Bhagavan was his sensitivity. Imagine when the boy was shivering with shock, his first thought, he was getting laughed, but his first thought was, I have to protect this baby, I have to save him. That sensitivity is always there. And that sensitivity towards others is what manifests in our life as common sense. When we want to bring solutions in others' life, right? Not create problems in others' life, but bring solution in others' life. When we are all the time with that point of view, solution-driven champions we must be, right? Like Swami. When we look for bringing joy in others' life or bring solutions in others' life, we are driven by common sense. Don't underestimate common sense. Right? Of course, as we just said, the sensitivity that Bhagavan had, that love, manifests in the form of deep concern. There are innumerable stories here. I don't know where to begin and where to end with regard to prema as deep concern, or as Swami would say, daya, compassion, right? So just 3 stories here. One is very close to my heart. It's called the carpet story. So we were in our 12th grade when we finished our board exams. We wanted Swami to speak to the whole batch of students. And it was, Swami didn't go to Whitefield after Shivratri. He used to do that. After every Shivratri function, Swami would go from Parthi to Whitefield because it's little cooler. Devotees don't have to bear the heat of Prasanthi Nilayam. Prasanthi Nilayam would be an oven. Any of you have been here in like May, April? Have you dared to do that? Okay, if you have dared to do that, you would know that it's a furnace in Prasanthi Nilayam, right? So, literally, you can make a dosa on the mandir floor. It used to be like that. So, we all would carry thicker mats like this and then sit on it. But Swami, giving darshan, of course, he had a carpet path, but devotees are not along it, no? They are on either side. Swami would just stray away from the path most of the time, reaching out to devotees, and he would walk barefoot on that very floor, right? So he came near us and we all knelt down, and that's when our feet actually touched the floor. Otherwise we were on comfortable mats. So when our feet touched the floor, we realized it's so hot. We were very jittery. We were not able to even, be on our haunches for some time. And Swami comes next to us. And you know what he says very lovingly? Kinda carpet lu pettukunnara. Do you have your carpets below you? Chala vediga undi. It's very, very hot. The floor is, he's walking barefoot on the floor, right? And he's telling us, do you have your mats below? It's very, very hot. The floor is very hot. Maybe he's experiencing it and telling us, right? That is the kind of, when love, he's not thinking about himself, right? That is love. Love expressing itself as deep concern. The other story, of course, you radio side listeners, and you have heard it, you would have heard this many, many times. But it's important to reiterate the story in the context of deep concern that Bhagavan has. When Swami says that we should be very well kept, our nails should be trimmed, and we should dress well. Swami would be very, very particular about that. He himself used to do that. Before he would come for darshan, there's a mirror in Purna Chandra. There used to be a mirror behind the the Vrindavan door, right? So Swami would come there, he would adjust his hair like that, and ask the boys around, Bhavanana, Anta Bhagavata, is this fine? Am I looking good? So he was like that, he set an example for us, and he wanted us also to look very neat and clean, right? So he would cut his nails, because he would always ask the students to cut the nails. So one day Swami was cutting his nails, and he was cutting them so deep that, his fingers were bleeding. That deep he was cutting. And one of the students who was serving Swami looked at it and he was almost in tears. He said, Swami, what are you doing? Why are you cutting the nails so deep? And Swami very spontaneously, naturally said, see Bangaru, when I go for darshan, the hundreds of devotees are there. They, in their emotion and in their feeling, they are so moved by seeing Swami, they will catch my hand, they will catch hold of my feet and all that. Even by mistake, I should not cause a single scratch to anybody. If my nails are longer, by mistake somebody, because they are moving fast, their hands over my legs or my hand, they should not be hurt. A single scratch should not come to my devotee. Can you imagine what kind of a deep concern? And for that, he was cutting his nails so deep that they were bleeding almost. And he would just wipe them off and then come off. See, that is love, showing deep concern in day-to-day life, right? This is another story. Don't beat me later for telling all these stories, because they're all a little bit, touchy stories. But it is important to know what Swami. This is the real Swami. He lived like this, right? So you should know. That's why I'm sharing these stories with you. The door closing story again is in Chennai when Swami was leaving Chennai after a very successful and wonderful trip. One devotee, when Swami got into his car, he was so excited to be so close to Swami that he just closed the door quickly, and Swami's leg was not fully inside, right? So the last end toe of Swami was still there and it got jammed. And Swami, of course, see, the physical body will give a reaction. Now, please don't tell Swami is God, he won't feel the pain in the body and all that. He feels the pain, right? Swami, in fact, told us in Kodaikanal, don't discount my human nature. When one of our brothers told Swami, Swami, you can do anything because you're God. Swami got visibly upset. He said, don't discount my human nature. Why? Because I lead a full human life to set an example for all of you so that you can emulate. Otherwise, tomorrow you will say, oh, Swami is God, so he can do, I can't do. No. Why? Because everything he did and showed in practical so that we can emulate. So Swami, I heard it directly from Swami, where Swami said, don't discount my human nature because I have lived a full human life to show you that it is possible to love like this. It is possible for a human to love like this. That's what Swami said. So there also when the door was closed, obviously the body gives a reaction and Swami gave a immediate reaction and said, right? And he immediately controlled himself and all smiled after that. All the devotees are there, he's waving at them and blessing them and full of smiles. Swami was in bliss, nobody could make out anything. Can you imagine all the way till he moved out of the city? So that until a point where nobody was there, then he told the driver to take the car to the side a little bit and he opened the door and pulled his leg. So the toe was very badly hurt and he was bleeding. And again the people next to Swami said, Swami, why didn't you tell us this much time, it could get septic and all that. They immediately did something, whatever they could. They said, Swami, you should have told us, we would have handled it there itself. You must be in such pain. And you know what Swami said? See, that devotee who closed the door, see, he's an innocent devotee. He was so filled with love for Swami, he saw Swami and he got excited. So in that excitement, he didn't see that Swami had not, taken his feet completely inside and he closed. If I would have reacted at that point, now see, what Swami is telling here, if I would have reacted at that point, just imagine the fate of the devotee. He will feel bad about himself. Everybody around him will not leave him. Isn't it? Oh, you hurt Swami, how could you do this? Just imagine that devotee will go into deep sorrow. And I don't want any of my devotees to be in sorrow. Why? Only when they are happy and blissful, they can experience me, because I am not sorrow, I am bliss. You know the Pink Sisters? Pink Sisters? When one of the Pink Sisters had left their physical form and the other one had gone to meet Swami, she was very, very strong, but when she saw Swami, she broke down. And then Swami said, no crying here. And Swami told her, see, Swami is Ananda Swarupa. He is bliss itself. So, if you are crying and unhappy, Swami can't be with you. Why? Because that is not my nature. If you are happy all the time, Swami is with you. So, Swami is Ananda Swarupa. So, be happy, be happy, be happy. So that is Swami, where he didn't want the devotee to experience the trauma of what he would otherwise go through, and hence he contained his pain. So you can see three different dimensions of how Swami expresses deep concern, and what he expects, we also express that kind of a concern. Right? So love, in most tangible ways, that experienced not just by human beings, but by plants, animals. You must have also heard the story when Swami was with peanuts in his hand, and the monkeys of Vrindavan formed a single file line in front of Swami, and they came and they picked up only one peanut each. How many of us take only one prasadam? Right? How difficult it is, the coordinator will tell me how difficult it is to get everybody in line. But these are monkeys. Swami says our mind is like a monkey mind. Not just a monkey mind, but a mad monkey mind. Not just a mad monkey mind, a drunken mad monkey mind stung by a scorpion. Right? But even such a mind will be disciplined when it experiences love. So Swami stretched his hand with peanuts and the monkeys were in line. Right? And another episode which you all are again familiar with is Gita Mohan Ram Aka's experience, where when she was a kid and she was plucking away at the grass, right? She was just pulling out the grass, being jobless. So she has a pat from back and she turns and sees. And all of us do it. All the laughing, people who are laughing, they know they do it. Right? So they're doing it and they get a pat, she gets a pat from back and she turns and sees it's Swami. And Swami says, do you know, they also have life? So she's like, oh Swami, I didn't know that. I thought it's just grass. They don't speak or do anything. And Swami said, see, I'll show you. Even they respond to love. How tangible Swami made love. Anirvachaniya prema swarupam. Inexplicable love. That's what the great sages spoke about. Swami made it so tangible for us. He took her to a bud that was yet to be blossomed and touched the bud, and in front of her eyes the bud blossomed. Swami said, see, this is how plants respond to love. And he said, you also touch. So she touched another bud, nothing happened. She said, see Swami, you're God, that's why it's happening. It will not happen for us. Swami said, no. You are not filling your heart with love. Now fill your heart with love and then touch. I will help you. And he held her hand and made her touch, and in front of her eyes that bud to blossom into a beautiful flower. Right? So animals, plants, everything. There is this another beautiful story from Vrindavan where there was an army of ants going by, and all of the students were eager to go for a try session with Swami. As soon as bhajans are over in Vrindavan and we get the signal, one teacher would come and just give a signal. Moment they give the signal, we all run, unlike the monkeys not in a line. Right. So we all would run and rush and until we see Swami. If Swami is there, of course everybody gets into line and then they would go. So that day Swami was standing there and personally telling every student, wait, jump across. Wait, jump across. So everybody was wondering what's happening. What are they jumping across? And then somebody noticed that there was an army of ants that were moving, and Swami wanted to make sure that the students in their hurry don't disturb them. So he was making the student jump across an ant. Can you imagine his concern? How tangible love became in the form of Sri Satya Sai. Right? So coming back to the discovery that we have to do in possibly 9 minutes. How much time do we? 9 minutes. Okay. So we have to do a quick discovery. Okay. So Sai, individual change, right? So the question today is, how can spiritual transformation take place without changes at the individual and the social level, right? So individual change and social change should happen first before we experience love, which is spiritual change, right? So Swami in Prema Vahini says that these are the 6 eternal virtues, right? Please make a note of them, because as in the Center for Human Values, I was researching on Prema Vahini. I realized that in the Telugu version of the Prema Vahini, the original Prema Vahini handwritten by Swami actually made the statement which didn't reflect in the English translation so much. Swami says, these virtues lend worthiness to the people of the world. These alone and no other traits can attain their stature. Which means Swami is giving singular emphasis to these 6 virtues and says, if you want to experience God, if you want to experience love, then these are the 6 traits that you have to pay attention to and work on in your day-to-day life. What are they? This is important for the individual change and slowly moving to the social change or association change, right? Daya, that is compassion. Dakshinyamu, that is kindness and charity. Prema, that is love. Shamapana, forbearance. Nijayati, honesty and integrity. And Orku, patience. Simple, but these are the 6 virtues. Swami says they are eternal virtues that lend worthiness to human beings. Right? So I'll give you a quick instance here of individual change. So it so happened that way back in 2007 or so, I was already suffering from migraine, a severe migraine situation, one side, mainly my right side. And I told Swami once and he said, I will tell you, right? So Swami took some of us to Chennai. And in one of the sessions, Swami said, see, 1 cup of wine is better than 1 cup of coffee. Then he explained, he said, see, wine is bad. I don't advise you to take wine or any alcoholic material for that. But coffee is even worse than that. So all of us were looking, stunned, because every day we were consuming coffee. And then Swami said, you know why? This wine, no, because it has alcohol. At least it takes care of all the insects or puruglu, worms that may develop due to improper food or something like indigestion. It destroys them. Coffee, adi kuda cheyadu. Coffee doesn't even do that. So it is worse than wine. This is what Swami told us, right? And then one of the teachers who was there said, Swami, what about tea? Swami said, coffee, tea, rendu okate. Both coffee and tea. Then he went on to talk about milk also, and he said how today's milk is also not good because they, inject enzymes into the cow and try to, get more yield and all that. Swami spoke about the mad-cow disease and all that, and he said, no, so it's not safe. You should know the source of the milk if you're taking. You should dilute it well. You should take care of all that. But I don't advise coffee and tea. Now the issue for me was, I love coffee. Okay, and I had migraine, headache. So headache, coffee, perfect partners, right? So I was justified in my life until Swami said this. So I came back to Palti and then I said, okay Swami, I have to do something about this because you said it's not good for health. So I will become a social drinker of coffee. Right? So if my friends invite me, then I will have, otherwise I won't have on a daily basis. So then I realized that moment I thought like this, the universe worked in some amazing way. Every other day somebody will invite me for coffee. So I was drinking coffee left, right, center, and I said, this is not working. So then actually I have to confess my ignorance. I didn't know at that point of time that cappuccino was also pretty much coffee only. I thought it was some kind of a mix between some chocolate drink and coffee, where the proportion was safe enough for me to say I'm not drinking coffee. Right? So I decided no more coffee, cappuccino. Anybody invites me, say Swami, no coffee, cappuccino. Right? So I was happy with that. Until there was a conference in our chemistry department here, and we have coffee breaks or tea breaks in between. So I had gone to make some arrangement, and as I was entering the hall in the auditorium, suddenly something hit me. Guess what? Freshly brewed coffee. How many? 50 cups of freshly brewed coffee on table like this were arranged. We just poured it into the glass, and I was somewhere there, and the fragrance, the aroma, my God, you know. So I literally, like those cartoon characters, Bugs Bunny, you know, get onto the door and go like I was going like that, floating away. Don't wonder with this weight how I floated. But yes, I did that. When I actually reached the table and picked up a cup of coffee, something inside me told me, and I'll pause it there. Okay? So I'm going to go little flashback from that point. I was in the wedding of one of my sisters, and I was doing my duty as a brother there. And there was a particular person who was a healer, a cosmic healer, and an Ayurvedic doctor as well, who was there, and he had amazing experiences with Swami. So we were having satsang. So basically I told them, whenever my duty is there, you call me. So rest of the time I was having satsang with that person, right? So he was sharing all his experiences. Maybe some other time I'll share his experiences as well. But what happened was, my mother was really concerned because no neurologist, nobody was able to find a solution to the migraine headache, right? So she asked him, being a healer, sir, can you suggest how you can treat my son? Is there a treatment for him? He just looked at me into my eyes and said something which I don't know how I took it, but I think it's Swami's grace. He said, you know why you have migraine? I said, no sir. Then he said, it's because you don't have faith in Swami. But I don't know what happened at that moment. I was very normal, I didn't feel anything. And I said, sir, but I know Swami is God, so can you please explain what this means? He was so happy to hear this, that I didn't express any ego or something like that on being told that you don't have faith in Swami, right? So he was very happy. See, that is a very important aspect of a spiritual seeker. When anybody tells us anything, first we must be able to take it and analyze and see if it's really in us. What is the issue? If it is there, it's a good thing, right? We can correct it. If it's not there, then we just say, no, I don't think it's around, but I'll anyway look for it. If it's there, I'll eliminate it, right? That's an attitude that a devotee should always adopt. Never be aggressive to people who are telling you things like that, right? So he told me, you don't have faith in Swami. I said, sir, can you explain what? I know Swami is God, but what do you mean by faith then? So he was so happy, he smiled and said, now you will definitely know the meaning, but inquire within. He didn't tell me. He said, now you will definitely know the meaning. See, good masters, no, they don't tell you everything. They will make you work for it yourself, right? He said, now you will definitely know this, inquire within. So I just left it there, and this inner voice tells me, can you put down this cup of coffee not because it is bad for your health, but because Swami said so. Just for the love of God, for love of Swami, can you put this cup down? And that day I placed the cup of coffee down. I never touched a cup of coffee after that in my life. It's been a decade plus now. Migraine has never touched me from that day for a decade till now. So, which doctor can explain this? Because I had all kinds of therapies going on till then. Nothing happened. 1 cup of coffee down, no migraine after that, right? And when Swami tells something, there are many dimensions to it. In 2012, I came across a research article that said that actually coffee and tea aggravates migraine. Migraine is not like any other headache. So the neuro condition of migraine is such that there is potentiality, not in everybody, but in certain cases, that coffee and tea actually aggravates migraine and doesn't soothe headache like the neurostimulators normally do, like caffeine, right? So Swami said this, and that day I understood the meaning of faith. Faith means implicit obedience to God. When Swami tells something, this is good for you, take it. Of course, you don't have to have blind faith. Take it, practice it, experience it, then you know what it is, right? So that is what is the meaning of faith. Faith means not blind faith. Swami always uses the word Vishwasamu, right? Vishwasinchu. For faith, he uses a very specific word in Telugu. He says Vishwasinchu. Vishwasinchu means just like you have faith in the breath. Do you have any doubt that because the breath is running, you are alive? Any doubts? You can just check, close your nostrils and everything for some time and you will know, right? Means Vishwasinchu means just as the way you have faith in your breath, that it keeps you alive. How? It's not blind faith, it is in your direct experience. Yes or no? Right? So in the same way you should have faith in God. Means implement His words in practice. Right? Implicitly experience how it can work magic in your life. And that is the unshakable faith that you will have. Nobody can shake that. Why? It's in your direct experience. That's why Swami said you should have direct experience. So I will not go into the that is the association change and the spiritual change given the time constraint. So what I will do is a more important thing, a small exercise which is very, very important, because anyway Swami said let's start with individual change. Can you all sit straight please? Wonderful. Why sit straight? Swami would often come to darshan and look at us boys and say, Chudu, ippude meer itla kuchunte. Now itself if you sit like this, when you grow old, you become like this. Means a question mark. No? See the shape. If you sit like this now with a bent back, when you grow old, you become a question mark. Means life itself becomes a question mark. What did I achieve in life? What is this life all about? The question comes when one leg is in the grave. So that is why Swami says that the human body is a miracle of God, and there are tremendous magical elements encased in the spine of a human being. That is why all the intelligence and everything sprouts in a human being because of the erect spine, right? So to be human, the first requisite is to keep the spine erect, right? So keep the spine erect for greater concentration, for greater willpower and everything. Today we are going to do an exercise after which you are going to regret. Okay? So let's do this exercise. Now, all of you place your right hand on your right thigh. Right? Now, think intensely. Lift my right hand. Think, only think intensely. Lift my right hand. Is it lifting? No. Okay. So think more intensely. Lift my right hand. And observe your right hand. Is it lifting? This is experiment 1. Experiment 2. When I say 3, 2, 1, as soon as you hear 1, just lift your right hand, right? 3, 2, 1. Observe and see, are there any thoughts in your mind? When you lift it. Okay, we do this exercise again. Put your hands down. When you hear 1, just lift your right hand and see if there are any thoughts, right? 3, 2, 1. Any thoughts? Now, third experiment. When I say 3, 2, 1 and you hear 1, it is your choice. If you want to lift your hand, you lift, otherwise don't lift. Okay? Is it clear? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, whoever has lifted the hand, punishment, lift it further up. Nice. Okay. So others have not lifted. Look around. Those who have not lifted, they are the bad boys. Look around. Just looking. Look around, right? Okay, great. Now, anybody, what do you infer from this? Sorry? Choice is yours. Can you explain the 3 experiments to me? Anybody? Very simple experiment. Anybody? Just make a guess. Experiment 1. What did you do? You thought, what? Lift my right hand. Did it lift? Did the hand move? All of you. Did the hand move? No. Means merely having thoughts about something will not lead to action. This is a practical experience. Don't have to read book to know this. Merely having thoughts about something need not translate into action. Why? The body will not move by mere thoughts. This is the proof. Why? You thought, lift my right hand. Did the hand move? No. Second experiment. When you heard 1, you just lifted your hand. At the time when you lifted the hand, any thoughts were there? No. Right? But the hand moved. Third experiment and second have to be seen together. In the third experiment, again the same thing, 3, 2, 1. When you heard 1, some of you lifted the hand and some of you did not lift the hand. Right? Why?
That's the unity.
Sorry?
That's the unity.
Unity, can you simplify it? It's right, but can you simplify it? Be very, very simple in your expression. It will work better. It is right. What you are telling is perfectly. That's the way to understand. But can you make it simple for others? What did you do? Like you said, when you heard 3, 2, 1 in the third experiment, you had a choice. In the second experiment, you're all good boys and girls who just listen to me. Right? In the third experiment, you had a choice, which means you can choose to put a thought into action. Yes or no? Some of you chose, some of you did not choose. So habit is like that. Any habit which you claim you can't change is a lie. I told you will regret this experiment. Right? Any habit that you say you can't change is a lie. Why? How the habit was created? From your birth you didn't develop any habits. No, you are not born with habits. What you did was, you gave a standing instruction regarding certain things in your life. Standing instruction. You know what is standing instruction? Okay, it's a bank terminology in India. So basically what standing instruction means is, you want to pay your electricity bills every month, water bills or whatever. So you don't have to go and pay every month, right? So you just tell your bank that I am giving a standing instruction to the bank that every month whatever is the due, it can be cleared. So automatically the amount is debited, right? Is that a facility you use, right? Great. What do you call it? Direct debit. Fantastic. So habits are direct debits that you did in life. Which means when a particular situation or a circumstance comes, you just liked it or whatever be the reason, you gave an instruction, standing instruction to the mind that when this comes, just do this. Right? So it doesn't wait for instruction. You have associated your willpower with a thought and given a standing instruction to direct debit, and hence it does that again and again and again and again. Why? You gave the will. Your will drove the action. Without your will, as you saw in the first experiment and the last experiment, without your will, your body cannot move. Is this clear? Without your will, your hands, your legs and your body cannot move. You want to see this again? One last time you do this experiment. Sit straight please. Keep your hands on your thigh. Observe this carefully. Okay? When I say 3, 2, 1, you decide to move your hand. Right? And see, without your will, the body cannot move. 3, 2, 1. Right? Those who lifted willed it should be done. Those who did not lift do not want it to be done. Yes or no? Means without your will, this body cannot move. So which means no habit that you have cannot be changed. If you say it cannot be changed, it's a lie. And unfortunately you came today for this. Right? Your lie is caught red-handed. So it is your willpower. And this willpower gains greater strength and power when you combine it with love for God. It gives tremendous power when you combine it with love for God. Right? So just like that day, that instruction came that maybe you're not concerned about your health, but can you put down this cup of coffee for the love of God? Because Swami said so, can you put it down? So when you combine your will along with love for God, anything can be done. This body cannot move without your will. Right? So you can change any habits, be it physical, be it mental or emotional, whatever be the habits. So when you change your habits to manifest these 6 qualities in your life, these 6 qualities will start showing up as association change. The society will experience your love. You are Swami, you are love. They will start experiencing you as love, right? So when that happens, you automatically open up to experience God every day, day in and day out. I'm just going to quickly read the Swami's quotes for you to, just gather this. Swami says, there are these bad habits among individuals, the smoking, drinking, meat eating and gambling. These bad habits not only degrade the individual but also inflict hardships on their families. These bad habits have to be given up for the individual to manifest his or her inherent goodness. One's personality can blossom only when he leads a moral life. Right? And this is a letter, I think I'll conclude with this. Swami thinks that this letter is written to you, each one of you, right? Swami says, my dear boy, accept my blessings in love. Watch your words, watch your actions, watch your thoughts, watch your character and watch your heart. Character is power. Patience is all the strength a man or a boy needs. It was written to boys also, so please don't mind. So, Sai is not far away from you or away in some distant place. He is within you, in your own heart. Man suffers because he is unable to discover him there and have peace and joy from that discovery. Boys, a loveless heart is a dry desert. Love is the very foundation of life. The air that is inhaled and exhaled has to be love in order that it may replenish and receive. If we are able to take home this one letter of Swami and manifest that love in our day-to-day life as common sense, as he is concerned, as tangible love to our people around us, to the beings around us, the animals around us, plants around us, the planet around us, that's good enough for us to move from individual change to association change, to spiritual change, and experience our own life as SAI. Sai. Very loving and wonderful people here. Prasanthi Nilayam embraces you all.